I should add on here with under Libya, NATO, because this is very important. I'll start off with redistricting because there's a story to my redistricting story that very few people really know. Actually, I didn't know it myself until, how can I say, events came together to unveil certain hidden aspects of my travails that went all the way up to the Supreme Court. In 1992, I actually was in the Georgia legislature, and I worked on the House Reapportionment Committee. I served on the House Reapportionment Committee. And because Georgia is a state that comes under the jurisdiction of the Voting Rights Act, I intended to serve in the Georgia legislature for only 4 years, but I wanted to have a lasting impact on the politics. And the most effective way to do that is through the redistricting process. Redistricting and reapportionment, two different things. Reapportionment happens as a result of demographic changes as reflected in the census. And then based on those demographic changes, redistricting takes place so that the number of districts in a particular area reflects the population shift in that area. And it is because of reapportionment, we have 435 districts in the United States House of Representatives, and reapportionment after the census that tells us that Ohio has to lose 2 House seats because Ohio has lost approximately, that would represent about 1.3 or 4 million people. Wow. So, on the flip side of it is the state of Georgia that is gaining House seats and has consistently gained because the population that leaves Ohio and New York and Pennsylvania and other places actually comes down south. It comes to Georgia, that's right. And so in 1992, from my perch on the Georgia House Reapportionment Committee, I advocated the full application of the Voting Rights Act, which meant then that according to the way the Supreme Court had interpreted the Voting Rights Act at that time, if it was possible that protected communities could be represented, have an equal chance, not a more chance, but just an equal chance, a 50-50 chance of electing their candidate of choice, then that district had to be drawn in such a way as to facilitate that. And as a result, I advocated that that would mean 2 districts, additional districts, that would allow black voters in the 2 black belts of Georgia, which go east and then one goes south, to be able to elect their candidate of choice. At the time, I have been a perennial student. I was a PhD candidate at the time, and today I am still a PhD candidate. A perennial student at several institutions. Well, anyway, so my intention was not to run, but to allow for the kind of representation that the people of Georgia deserve. Well, anyway, as it turns out, when we went through the Department of Justice, that whole entire process that you are now going through, the only difference is that you don't qualify under the jurisdiction of the Voting Rights Act. So you have to rely on the goodwill of your legislature and your governor. And I don't think you can really count on very much goodwill.